Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Is there anybody here? Anybody at all here? I want to make sure that I am up and running. The computer was turned off, so I want to make sure that things are the way they're supposed to be. The way they're supposed to be. Hi, Jane. How's the sound? Do I need to go back in and change the sound? Can you hear me? I know that you're one of those that has issues. Let me know. All right, let me know, and I can fix it, or I can try to fix it before I get much further. Much better, still much better. Great. Hello, Mrs. Gigi. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hi, Nick and Tina. Nick and Tina. I was gone most of the week. So I think Jane, hi Susan. I think Jane, you said that you did you comment that you couldn't get to the video on Patreon? Hi Debbie. Yes, you caught me live. I did not realize it was the second time I've uploaded the video. And hello Mary. Hey, Vicky, Curly T, Norma. You got the Patreon video? Because it still says here on YouTube that it is unavailable. The You're mostly lurkers. Well, lurk away, my dears. Lurk away. Mary Lou, Auntie Loopy. Thank you all for being here. I will stop looking at chat for just a second. No, I won't. You know I won't. I have to say hello to everybody as they come in. I do. So I was gone, and I guess I should the what is it called? What is it called on Patreon? Collage process. It's an hour long. Hi, Margaret. And I should know how to say your name. Hi, Whispering Cauldron. All right. Remind me, Whispering. I know who you are, but I don't remember who you are. Lurk away. Ashlid. Carol. Hello, Carol. I will get it eventually. I do not do well with name changes. I learn somebody one way and it's hard for me to switch over. That's I'll get there eventually. I will hope to get there eventually. Hello, Debbie. Okay, my table is still shaking. Don't know why it is shaking because the camera and the cord and everything that's attached to this camera is not attached at all to this table. Which drives me crazy when I'm trying to figure out why in the world the camera's shaking and it shouldn't be. Drives me crazy. Dinalda. And it says not available. I guess I've tried to upload that video on Patreon twice. I deleted it and uploaded it again. There's something must be wrong with the video. So I will be redoing video for that. And hopefully I can get that done in the next couple of days. Is Vicky here yet? Isaac says hi too. How do you say hello, Christoph? How do you say your name. Ashild? Ash. I should know. Most of my family is from Norway, but I do not know how to pronounce the names properly. And I've seen your name in my family tree. I do not know how to say it out loud, though. I am kind of better. Hi, Becky. I was gone. Is Vicky here yet? Where's Vicky? Someone bing Vicky and tell her she's late. Vicky, where are you? I was gone, people. You were unsubscribed. All right. Um, hard to explain. I know, and I should just listen to. I think they actually will say how to say things. Anyway, I know, and I'm glad you're here from Norway. I am glad you're here from Norway. Love to see my Norway peeps. Thank you, Debbie. Wonder where she is. All right, so I was gone for almost. Sorry, camera's going crazy. For almost a week. I left shortly after. I left on Wednesday, came back last night, so was gone. I was gone. And guess where I went? Hello, Melinda. Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna go out with it. Okay, I've got tons and tons of announcements. Okay, thank you, Kathleen. I was gone. I went to Texas, people. I was in Texas. And the entire time I was in Texas, I did not have any allergy problems. So it's definitely my my kitty cats driving me crazy. So I woke up today and I started sniffling. So I did take some medicine about an hour ago. I have been sniffling. I have been sniffling. And I thought I would take some medicine. Hopefully, it won't affect the streaming. It shouldn't affect streaming. It'll take a while for it to kick in, and then I'll get real groggy and real icky. So I'm hoping to get some videos out tomorrow. Um, it depends on how the medicine makes me feel, but I'm hoping. I'm hopeful that will it will. Yes, I'm hopeful. All right. So I am going to be doing some basic collage bits today. I get lots and lots of questions. And sorry, I have got a tickle in my ear. I think it's an ant. Give me a second. Of course, it might have just been a hair, too. It probably was just a hair. Anyway, sorry. It was kind of making me a little funny here. So I've got some announcements. ICAD season is here, people. It started June 1st. ICADs are index card a day. I had index cards here. Index card a day for the months of June and July. There are prompts. Perfect, Mrs. Gigi. And Debbie is doing ICADs for the 7th year. Do you do all of them? Do you do all, what is it, 61 cards? So it's an index card a day. An index card is not very large. You can do anything that you want to do. Let me cover up my glue before it. there is in the description box below, I did put a link to Daisy Yellow ICAD. You completed 2018 and 2017. Wonderful. I put it in a link if you are looking for what it is, more descriptions. Um, Daisy Yellow does everything perfectly. She's the one that started the whole thing, I do believe. And there's prompts if you want a prompt every day to get you started on your ICAD. It's just a small piece of art. You can do collage, you can do mixed media, you can do anything you want to do. The object of the game is to do a little piece of art every day. This does not work on my schedule. I kind of would like to do some ICADs. I would like to do not necessarily ICADs. I am doing my Rolodex. I've got my Rolodex out here. I am doing cards from my Rolodex. And so I've been taking a card off. I did cut some little pieces of cardstock the same size. And I have started doing my ICADs are going to be the Rolodex cards. Okay. And I am not doing the prompts. I am just trying to do some little bits of art when I can. I'm not going to be able to do it every single day. I am really, really behind in what I need to do every single day. So I'm probably going to do more than one in a sitting and then do my other stuff and, and then come back to it. I just can't um, have my stuff all out here to do one every single day. I'm cheating. It's not, I am not cheating. The ICADs are June and July, every day for the month of June and July. And Susan is doing it without prompts as well. She's just using up scraps of fabric and lace on 4x6 cards so you can make mini book covers. Oh, you inherited one of those Rolodex from your place of work because they were getting rid of them? I hope they didn't get rid of any of them. Vicky B is doing them on business cards. That sounds fun. Yes, Susan. The spirit of ICAD, Susan says, the spirit of ICAD is to create something every day because everybody can find a small pocket of time to create. I get busy myself with one thing and then I've lost all my time. So I comment, answer my emails, comment on the Facebook group and comment on YouTube videos and Instagram and things like that. And then I lose time. Or I start organizing my room and realize that I am out of time to do anything. So I get started on something and I usually stick with that for quite a while. So that's why, and I get more done that way. That's my thing. I get more done. So, hi, Lori, Diane. Vicky's no prompts for you either. So, that's my thing is when I get started doing collage, I get into a groove, I get into the swing of it, and it's easier for me to save time to get more done if I just continue on doing what I'm doing for more than just 5 minutes. Because sometimes it takes me 5 or 10 minutes to get into the groove. Little hair there. Um, and then it takes me, another 5-10 minutes to adjust to doing something else. So I am doing the Rolodex for my little cards. I will try to do 61 cards. And I do have this wonderful little punch from Heidi Swap. It is the Memory Dex Hole Punch. I guess it is discontinued, but it fits the ICAD or the Rolodex cards perfectly. And I am going to collage on both sides before I punch my holes. So I'm just hoping to do a little bit of that. So I'm behind. I only have 2 done, and it is day 4. So anyway, I think they are discontinued. So keep your eye out. If you're looking for one, they do come available on eBay every once in a while. Somebody's trying to get rid of them, or somebody has found some to sell. Oh, I don't have the autofocus on anymore, so I can't show you there. There it doesn't want to stay focused. There you go. That's the numbers for the punch. Keep your eyes open if you're looking for one. They do come available every once in a while. It's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. All right. All righty. So I want to talk about collage today. I talk about collage today. I had other announcements. What do I have to announce? I have a get together June 22nd. I believe we are filled up for, thank you. You like this one? This came off of a brochure. That I got at a Florida welcome center. So I cut them out. I've got a few of them. I cut them out. And it's kind of nice that they're on both sides. They're just slightly off, but if I cut one out, it's pretty close to having the other one cut out. So you have a double-backed fish. So I went to Texas. Guys. I went to Texas. And I did meet Vicky. I went through a lot of the welcome centers on the borders of the states in between. I did. I am going to put ICAD stuff away now because I want to talk about collage, basic collage, all that good stuff. Yeah. I saw Miss Vicky. We have a picture together. I haven't actually got a chance to look at the picture yet. Let me put the punch and the Rolodex someplace where I will not lose them. I've got a mess going on here, guys. I kind of cleaned up right before I left, and I haven't had a chance to unclean up to find my stuff for today. So, I need to put that near the punch too so I don't lose that. So I have Texas brochures to go through, you guys. I've got Texas. I've never had Texas before. I have not driven to Texas before. I have an uncle that lives there. Never been. He's been there for many, 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 many years. So, seems like I had another announcement and I can't remember what it was. So I am just going to continuing on with collage until I kind of remember what I'm doing. And hopefully Vicky can meet us here for a while. She has probably got, if she's got company, she might be a while. Bye, Norma. Goodbye, Norma. Have a good day. I know, busy, busy. I am so behind, you guys. I'm so behind. I am planning. I'm kind of disappointed that my Patreon video did not show up. Hi, Tilda. Happy Tuesday. Because I wanted to go on. I didn't want to go backwards and have to, you know. So I've got maybe 3 workshop videos that I want to put up on Patreon this month. And those workshops have to do with collage. I do put up little workshops for beginning collage on my Patreon. If you would like to see those workshops, there are some process videos as well. If you want to see those, hello, Linda, all you need to do is pledge a little as $1 a month and you get all the content, all the extra videos, all the extra caged fish that you need. Hi, Christy. All that you need. Hi, Vicky. Sorry. Do they not know it's Tuesday, Vicky? Do they not know it's Tuesday? I'm just teasing you. All right. Oh, and the other thing, while I was in Texas, I got to go to Daiso. If you are in, I believe they're in Texas, in California, and New York. Is that where they are, guys? I had so much fun. I was behind my schedule, went to one and ran through it and didn't really get to look. But went through the next one on my way back out, and so I went to 2 different ones. They were completely different. They had different stuff in them. Really, really cool Japanese. It's a Japanese discount stuff. If you get the chance to go to a Daiso or an Oriental market or a Chinese restaurant, sometimes Mexican restaurants have little magazines or newspapers, some kind of publications in different languages. And Daiso was one of those. They had 2 different newspapers and 2 other publications. And of course, I forgot to bring up the publications. I'll show them to you another time because they are downstairs. And it looks like they do these once a week or so. So there's different newspapers there, and they're in Japanese. So these are great for collage. I loved it. I loved it. I took my time with the second one. I went crazy. The second one that I went to actually had a craft section. The first one that I went to didn't have a craft section. So I was able to slide through and not be too disappointed. The second one I went to was a little bit larger, had a great craft section. And I don't think I got any washi tape, but I got papers and I got some scissors. I got some needles for bookbinding. I had some great needles. I am just going to take a piece of this and do some collage with it today. So if you get the chance, if you're in the area, if you are... Hello, Colorful Life. What's your name? Anyway, I recommend it highly. It is a discount store. Most things are $1.50 from Japan. Cool stuff from Japan. All right. So I want to talk about collage today. Basic collage for the beginners. Hi, Anne. Hello and welcome. So glad to see new people. I get a lot of questions about collage. Um, Collage is a very personal thing. It is, there's so many different types of collage. There's abstract, every person who does collage has their own unique style, the their own unique likes and dislikes, things that they really like. Hi, Michelle. Part of the fun of collage for me is the hunting and the gathering, and I still need to do that video. The hunting and the gathering, collecting the travel brochures at the welcome centers, at the state lines. I absolutely love that. I look forward to going through my Texas ones because I've not seen those yet. Um, Stamped images, finding scrapbook paper that's got some interesting patterns to them, book pages and illustrations and photographs and pictures. And if it's paper, you can collage with it. Lurking and work away, my dear. Hunters and gatherers. It's my favorite part, and that is why I have so much stuff, because I spend most of my time hunting, gathering, collecting, finding new things, and I don't use my stuff fast enough. All right. I like collage that has pictures. I like abstract collage too, but I don't do very much of that. And I have last week, the week before, I did a little bit of decollage. Haven't gotten very far with that one yet. I will get back to you with that one. It is the thrill of discovery. Hi, Jennifer. You're great at collecting, but not so great at the organization. See, the trick is to use it as you find it and not organize it. That is the trick. Use it as fast as you find it. I haven't perfected the trick yet. Because I've got a lot of stuff. So I don't use it fast enough. And then I find really cool stuff and treasure it forever because I'm afraid to use it. I have to admit, I did get a few of the papers so that it wouldn't be so precious. I wouldn't feel so bad when I've used it. And I do have, newspapers from Japan and from India and Vietnam and things like that. So I have got plenty. I can start using it without feeling like I'm going to use it up and not have it anymore. All right. All right. So, Debbie, you're the same. Don't use it fast enough. Collage can be easy for everyone. All right? Don't get frustrated. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get jealous of somebody else's collage. We are all different. We are all going to be making different collages. We all have different stuff. We all have different likes. We all have different dislikes. We all come across different things. We're not going to have the same stuff. All right? Christiane bought 2 magazines. It is. You find that treasured something, whatever it is, and then you have to find the perfect something to put it on, right? The perfect. It has to be absolutely perfect. And then what happens? you never use it because you never find the perfect something. And then you've got a shoebox full of the perfect images that need the perfect place to live. And you never get to see them because how often do we flip through our shoe boxes? Right? How often? I suggest using your stuff, getting it used. I did not show this. This is well, I have more than a shoebox full myself, too. I was just making an example, Jennifer. Thank you for making me feel bad. I have got I have got baskets and plastic bins and envelopes and you guys know me. You've seen my images. I did finish this 5-hole pamphlet stitch book with the different papers in it. Make yourself a book. It could be a junk journal. It could be anything, and start putting your special images in the book. Make the book about the size of most of your images. And then you know you've got a place to put them. It's so much more fun, I have to say, it's so much more fun to look at your images that are used on a page, even if they're not in the perfect place, than it is to go through a shoebox to look at your images. I started using my images, started putting them on pages, and I absolutely love looking through my books and seeing the images used. I'm getting so much better about using them and enjoying them. I recommend it highly. I recommend it highly. Oh, it's car boot season. Yes, yes, yes. And I can't pass them up too. I've got 3 bookshelves full of books for collage fodder. Because if it's a bargain, if it's free, or I can't let it just go. So anyway, so when we're doing collage, let's start using our stuff. Let's start using it. Let's stop. Ooh, Susan, how do I sign up for that program? You haven't gone to a thrift store in 3 months? I actually saw a Goodwill on the road and did stop in and found a Spanish book, a Spanish language, what do you call it? Textbook, a textbook with Spanish, and it has plastic pages. The Spanish is on the plastic so that you can put it over the English. So it's kind of, so you can read the English and try to figure out how to say that and see if you've got it right. I loved it. That was the only thing I bought, but it was really, really cool. I'd never seen anything like it before. Anyway, all right. So, an oversized atlas. All right. Let's get back to, I'm going to get back to collage. You guys are distracting me with all the cool stuff that you're finding and things. Collage, basic collage. Now, this is something that and I should be flipping through some of these. This is what I really, really want to, I want beginners to know this. All right. Beginning people who are doing collage. I'm not on autofocus. Am I not on autofocus? Is it doing weird things? No, I'm not on autofocus. All right. We all have a place where we began to do collage. So often I see people who are just beginning to collage become very, very frustrated that their collages are not what they want them to be. They see somebody else's and are very disappointed that their collage is not there yet. And I just want to say we all have to start somewhere. We all started first grade or kindergarten so that we could learn how to write and to read and all the things that we learn in school. We were not disappointed in first grade that we did not know how to read the same kind of books that our college siblings were reading. We're in first grade, there's no way that we're going to be able to read a textbook from college. It's the same thing with collage. We have to start at the beginning. We have to start simple. And then we learn a bunch of things. We learn guidelines. We learn things that we like. We learn things that we don't like. We learn kinds of colors that we like to use. We grow slowly. Don't expect when you start collage that you're going to be making masterpieces right off the bat. Please, 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 please. Do not think that it's going to happen. It's something you're going to learn. You're going to figure out what you like to see. You're going to find things in your magazines that you hadn't seen before. You're going to train your eye to look at things differently. And you're going to start collecting things, and you're going to have more options and things like that. So when you're beginning, you don't have a lot of stuff. You don't have a lot of, different things to make collages with. It comes eventually. It comes. So I want to say that again. Beginning collage people, do not be disappointed in the collages that you're making. Enjoy the process. Enjoy using your stuff because there's always more stuff. All the people in the chat right now are saying they have too much stuff. They're worried about using that special something. More stuff will come along. So use it. Use it. You'll find more. And it'll be cool stuff too. I promise. I promise. All right? So we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start in first grade, and we're going to do some basic. I'm going to just talk mostly today, do some demonstrations. I'm going to talk about basic collage. And if you have some basic knowledge, if you have some guidelines that you can keep in your head, learning how to make collages that you like becomes more easy as you go. All right. So I've got a ton of collages out here. Some of them are good and some of them are not so good. Some of them are pretty busy. Just keep in mind, even I make collages that I am not happy with. Not every single collage is a masterpiece. I have my favorites and I have those that I hate. I'll tell you right now. What makes a good collage? We're going to talk about some of that. And I do want to say too, there are no rules. You can do anything you want to do. There may be some guidelines to make things more what you want them to look like. But on the whole, there are no rules. Do what you want. Do it however you want to do it. Have fun with it. And then you'll end up with a pile of collages like this. You see, yeah, make it your own. Definitely, Tilda. And you see your stuff is more cool than Tim Holtz stuff. See? This size is good. This is usually the size right here. This is a 4-inch square. These are the sizes that we do in the workshops, in the meet up, in once a month, the meet and greets. I do like the 4-inch size. And it is good for beginners to do a 4-inch size. Number one, it doesn't take that much time to do. Number two, small things, small images, stamped images, small things from magazines and such, they're easier to find. So it's not so hard to use up stuff because you know that you're going to find more stuff this size. It's easier to use it. And they're cute. It is a great size. I really like the 4-inch squares. And I like squares myself. When I get to going in collage and I'm doing backgrounds, sometimes it looks better when I twist it around so there's no up and down. So I can do a background and see how I want it to be situated, and it's always right. So I do like squares. I like squares when I was doing photography too. I think there's something about squares that my eyes like. So, all right. So collage is like an ice cream sundae. All right. Let me get some backgrounds out here. Collage is like an ice cream sundae in that you want more ice cream, a vanilla ice cream usually. About 2/3 of your collage should be vanilla ice cream. It should be neutral. It should be something for your focal point to be on. Your topping should be about 1/3 of the space of your collage. And your topping is your focal point. You want your focal point to be noticeable. You want your eye to catch your focal point. You don't want your eyes to go to your background. And that's why I suggest a neutral background, like a book page or something like that. And I will get into some of those. But you don't want a lot of focal points catching your eye. You want just one something. One something. And you want some other little things. Thank you. Thank you all. You want some other little things to complement your focal point, but you want your eye to go to your focal point, and then you want your eye to go to the other things that are around your focal point. What can make something a focal point? Vanilla. I like vanilla. My ice cream sundae of choice. I'm trying to get this focused here. My ice cream sundae choice is vanilla ice cream, hot fudge, and I like nuts. Okay? So collage is like an ice cream sundae. It's mostly ice cream, a little bit of topping, and that's where the power is the topping. I'm all for the hot fudge, man. I love hot fudge, but I don't want a bowl of hot fudge. It's too much. Same thing with a focal point. You don't want a whole collage of focal points. Your eye gets confused. It doesn't know where it's going. And then on your sundae, you just want a touch of sprinkles or nuts, a little bit of whipped cream, a cherry. Those toppings, those little bits of things for your collage are the little tiny details that make your collage interesting. So that's the recipe for a collage. You want ice cream. And you usually want only one flavor of ice cream. If you equate that to a background, you want a vanilla ice cream background. You want your background pieces to be very neutral. You want them to blend into each other. You don't want pistachio ice cream, chocolate ice cream, and what's another one? Maybe, cherry chunk or something. Um, pecan. What's a pecan flavor? You don't put pistachio chocolate and um, a mint together. That confuses your taste buds. It's too much flavor. And so on your background, you don't want a bunch of different colors. You want your flavor of ice cream to be pretty much the same thing. So you don't want your background. I'm trying to find one here it's a little busy. It's got a bunch of stuff to it that's not quite as busy as it could be. Did I not pull out any bad ones here? Here's one. This one's kind of wild and crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of flavors of ice cream here. There's too many focal points. Your eye is going all over the place. What am I supposed to look at? What am I supposed to look at? Like butter pecan. That's it, Tilda. You found ice cream. Look what I started. I am sorry, guys. I am sorry. But the ice cream sundae is perfect for collage. You want something neutral for your background. You want vanilla ice cream, or if you want one of those really fun ice cream sundaes, maybe you are a pistachio ice cream kind of person, and maybe you like chocolate topping on your pistachio ice cream and some nuts, or you like whipped cream, or whatever it is that you like. Stick to pistachio ice cream for your background. Maybe some light green little bits for your background, so that when you put your focal points on top, you can see your focal points. You get a bunch of colors going on, and it gets a little confusing. It's hard to see. It's hard for your eyes to figure out what it's supposed to be looking at. All right? All right? So that's what we're working for. We're working for a perfect ice cream sundae collage. All right? So let me put these to the side again, and let's talk about backgrounds first. Let's talk about backgrounds. We want a vanilla background, right? And I've got some papers out here. It does not necessarily have to be things like book pages and such for a vanilla or a background. Like I said, you could try pistachio ice cream, but you want something that doesn't have a lot of contrast to it. Here's a nice pistachio ice cream background. It is perfect. And I've got some fussy cut images out here. I know I haven't got to the focal point part of this yet, but let me get some focal points out here that I can demonstrate. What I'm trying to talk about here. All right. So here we got pistachio, and when we put a focal point on it, we can see that focal point. Hi, Carla. The background it has some pattern to it, it has some interest to it, but it doesn't have a lot of contrast to it, so you can see the things that you put onto it. And that looks really good. There's enough contrast here that you can see You start putting the same colors down. This one would work. There's enough contrast here. Sometimes I do try to make bad collages, and then I usually don't like them and rip them up and try to and redo them. Here's a bad collage. This is a bad example of backgrounds. This is supposed to be a background. So there's way too much stuff going on here, way too much contrast, way too many colors. If I try to put something on top of that, it gets lost. You can't see your focal point. You do not want this. And it doesn't matter. Let me see if I can find a small focal point. You want your focal point to be different color. You want it to contrast with your background so that you can see it. I've got a raspberry here too. Let me get the raspberry out. So here's a ship. It gets lost. You can't see your focal point. Here's a raspberry. It doesn't catch your eye. This is not a vanilla background. Now, a black and white image might show up, but still having an awful hard time showing up. This background is too busy. It is not an ice cream background. This is one of those backgrounds where you've put butter pecan, pistachio, chocolate ice cream all in a cup. Hi, Missy. And then you've put toppings on top of it, and you start eating that, and you have no idea what you're eating. You've just got too many flavors in your mouth. It's too much. It's just too much. All right. So you might use some of these flowers as focal points, but I would say that this background has too many focal points. Has too many colors. It has too much going on. It is too busy. You want your backgrounds to be a lot more tame, a lot more subdued. You want to be able to see your focal points. So I have some examples out here of some different things that I use for collage. Some of them are backgrounds and some of them are not. So let's get some different colors of things out here. All right. So that one is good. I like book pages. Book pages are my good go-to. And of course, I don't have any book pages out here. So let me sneak over here and get one out of my bag. I'd like to have a big one. Here, book pages. I like book pages because it's vanilla ice cream all over the place. It is a very light color. That's another thing. You need a light color. Great, Missy. Hopefully we'll get to see this on the 22nd. I am a vanilla ice cream fan in my collages. You don't have to be. If you are a person that likes a little bit of color, color works well too. But try to stick to no more than 2 colors. Not very dark colors. You want some light colors. You want to be able to see your focal points. And this one works pretty well. But if you get too busy, like this one's got a lot of colors to it. It's got black circles all over it. It's got a lot of stuff going on. You lose your focal point. See how different that is? Your background is too busy. Your background, it was fun to make. So test out your focal points. before you start gluing stuff down. Hi, Emma. You want to make sure you can see what you want to see. All right? Painted papers are good. Here's another one. Stripes and stripes. There's enough contrast there. It might just work. Depends on what else you want to put on there. Kind of lose that poor chicken's beak. So maybe this isn't the best choice for this. And that's why I like book pages, music pages, things like that, because you can see just about anything, any focal point on a very neutral background. And I like to keep my backgrounds, when I do backgrounds like this, I do put a few different pieces of, hi Tammy, a few pieces of book pages, different fonts, different size text, different colors, some of them more yellow than others. Let's see if we can stop it to jumping. And this is what I like for backgrounds. It adds more interest than just a single little bit, but still stays neutral enough to be able to see your focal point. Okay? Let's look at some other little bits here. Here's a newspaper with some black stamping on it. Where's that zebra? I had it just 2 seconds ago. There he is. Chicken's hiding him. Now, that's a little iffy. Those black stamps very much distract from the zebra. He gets hidden in there a little bit. But if you were to use something with a contrasting color, it might work. You might like the looks of that. It's all about what you're planning on using for your focal point. All right. So you do want to keep in mind, you don't want a lot of contrast going on. Here's another one with a lot of contrast. There's a lot of different colors. There's a lot of stuff going on. You just kind of get lost in it. You could use something that's dark, that has a lot of weight, as in it's pretty bold. It's dark. You can still see her with that background, and that looks, the zebra would, on that stamped background, would hurt your eyes. You can't see it. It gets lost. But there's enough contrast between this focal point and the background. Even this busy background would look all right with this. There's enough contrast that it stands out. It catches your eye. You can see your focal point. All right? Let's just go through some of these other ones. So, training your eye to look at backgrounds in a different way. You want a background that is going to complement what you're putting on top of it. Now, that maybe it could work. I mean, it looks okay, but it might not be the best choice. I do like that it's in the same color family. It is dark enough. Hi, Roesta. It is dark enough that you can see it, but it is definitely better on a contrasting page here. Scrapbook paper is a good one to try this out. So I suggest, pulling out some different things and trying your focal points on different kinds of backgrounds and training your eye to see what's real busy, what will work and what won't. I love this napkin. I love this napkin, but there's not a lot of stuff that I can put on this napkin that would work. It is too busy. It is almost too busy for a background. It makes your eye work too hard. Well, she kind of works with just about anything, doesn't she? She's very bold. She's very dark. She's very eye-catching. And she would work. I kind of like her with this mushroom umbrella thing. And I like that this hedgehog is looking at her like that. I might have to do something here. I might have to do something with that one. And here's another one that's pretty busy. It looks like an umbrella. It does, an umbrella hat. She's got an umbrella hat. So if I start putting things on this, you start losing your focal points again. It's got too much contrasting colors. There's some dark things, there's some light things. There's a lot of different colors in here. You really can't see. Hi, Luz. Mercado. You really can't see what you're putting on very well. The background is way too distracting. She goes on everything, doesn't she? She is not a good example. She works on everything. So take a minute to investigate. See, that's kind of cool. But then the comb kind of blends into the background. You can't see it really well. His beak kind of blends into the background. You'll want something different so that you can actually see him. Something kind of like that. All right. So that's my backgrounds spiel here. Stick to one or two colors. Don't put a ton of colors on. Stick to things that don't have a lot of contrast to them by themselves, that aren't this busy, and you're going to like your collages in the end just a little bit better. Okay? Stick with book pages, scrapbook paper that's got just a little bit of pattern to them, painted papers with not too many different colors to them. You would be able to do a Stabilo pencil around the beak, yes. But, I mean, that's a little bit more advanced. I want people to take a look at their backgrounds and see what might work and what might not work. Train your eye. Like, this may become a problem before you get too attached to something. Train yourself to just keep your backgrounds light colored, low contrast, less busy, not very many colors, and you're going to be happier with your collage in general. You're going to be happier with your collages in general. All right. So let's go on to, we've talked about the vanilla ice cream. We've talked about the ice cream flavors. Let's go on to the toppings. And the toppings are your focal point. You want your topping to complement your background. And that's what we were talking about a little bit. You probably don't want let's see, this is a pretty busy background. You probably don't want, do I have something that's completely different color scheme? Here's introducing another color scheme. You probably don't want to add another color. You probably want to stay, kind of in the same color family. This elephant, there's a little bit of green in here. It's not the same green, but it is green, so you're echoing that a little bit. And he could work. He could work, but he still kind of gets lost. He still kind of gets lost. So you want your focal point to be complementary to your background. So if you've decided that you want, let's find something. We want to use this car. We want to use this car in a collage. We need to find or make a background to use this topping on that. It does bring out the blue, but I guess it does have blue in it a little bit, so we're not introducing another color, but it's still pretty busy. If you're using a really busy background, you want something really bold, really eye-catching for your focal point. Okay? So your focal point is the topping. You want your ice cream to be about 2/3 of your collage. You want your topping to be about 1/3. Now, a lot of people will take, and I've got a couple of squares here. We'll say that these are our backgrounds. A lot of people take a background like this and they get their focal point and it's just a little tiny something here. And it blends in a little bit and that's their focal point. But this one's not a good example because it does kind of work there. You want your focal point to be bold enough and large enough to catch your eye. She's kind of small for this collage. She's more of a backup singer. She's more of a sprinkles on top, a little bit of nuts, maybe she's a little bit of whipped cream. She's really not big enough to be a focal point. With a plain background like this, of course she's going to catch your eye because that's the only thing that's on there. But let me see if I can find some other little neutral bits here. Kind of like that, I suppose. Yep, I need a little bit of book page, I think, for this point. All right. So, I mean, that's a nice neutral little background. There's not a lot of different colors. It's light colored. But if we expect her to be a focal point, she kind of gets lost there. She's not bold enough. She's not big enough. She's not she's not 1/3 of the collage area. You want your background to be about 2/3. You want your topping, your focal point, to be about 1/3. You need something a little bit larger. See how that just says hello? It just says hello. You know what you're supposed to be looking at. Your eyes are not confused. Searching, 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 looking for something. That's what collage is all about. You want to see something. You're supposed to be looking at something for something. That something is supposed to catch your eye. All right? That's our topping. The topping is the main event. It's what we want to be looking at. We don't want our toppings to be crowded out by other stuff. The runaround Sue behind the car. So let's go back to this one. So if we use that as a focal point, we could add some other things to it. But they have to be neutral type things. They have to complement your focal point. They don't have to compete. You don't want them to compete. You want them to complement, to be like backup singers. You don't want your backup singers to be more interesting than your main event. Let's switch this out. That's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool little collage. It's got quite a bit of things to see, but they're not really competing with each other. You go to the hand and then you kind of look around, which is pretty nice. In fact, that is kind of nice, and I think I may just glue that down just the way it is. All right. Um, it does need a little bit of a frame, but I kind of like that. I might just leave it just the way it is. So I got distracted there. We start putting more stuff on, it starts to crowd out your focal point. Keeping it simple is the best thing to do when you're beginning to do collage. Eventually, you will get to a point where you're going to put a bunch of stuff on, but you're going to learn how it works as you go. So if you stay simple to begin with, you're going to be more happy. I do like that. So I am going to put that to the side, probably glue that together later. In fact, I'll just put it on a square like this so I can still use my square, because that's a good example of a nice vanilla. And I'll put that somewhere else so that I can glue it together later. Anyway, so that is a good example of a focal point. You actually can see it on the background. Let's see here. There's a basket here. I guess you can see that too. It is kind of boring. This is one of those focal points that, I mean, you can tell that that's the focal point, but there's not a whole lot to see. It's not that interesting. We could put the girl coming out of the basket, which is more interesting. This is why I like squares. I'm not sure if I like that for the top. That top looks pretty good. Oops, sorry. Dumping it down. That top looks pretty good. Put the raspberry on top. That looks good too. So when you're picking out your focal points, there are some things that you want to keep in mind. Number one, you want your focal points to be contrasting to your background, either a different color so that it stands out, or bold or black, things like that. You want your focal points to be large enough to be able to see on the page. I'm looking at this ship in a basket. Oh, with the girl, raspberry with the girl. Where'd the girl go? She's right there. You want your focal points to be about a third of your collage. You want them to be noticeable. You want them to be the main event. You want to be able to look at your collage and know what you're looking at, not have to guess. Am I supposed to be looking at this? Or am I supposed to be looking at? Look at her riding an elephant. Yeah, I do like 3 items in my collages. I'm trying not to do that right now for those beginners. We're trying to keep it simple. Keep it simple so that you get the hang of it. Later on, you can add backup singers. Later on, but learn the basics first. All right, another thing about focal points is, let me put some of these to the side so I can find them again. That car was great. Another thing about focal points is you want to give them a little bit of shape. Zebra in a basket, oh, that might work. We'll get back to that. You want to give them a little bit of shape. This is it's a cool tree. It is a cool tree. But when you put it on something like this, it looks like a piece of magazine page put on a background. If I were to give it a little bit of shape, let me do that. Just a little bit of shape. Take away some of the straight edges. I am leaving quite a bit of the background. And I do have, it's in my playlist called Collage. I've got some options for fussy cutting. You don't have to fussy cut in great detail to get great results. All right. So there I've just given it some shape. And I put it back down there. It looks better. It doesn't really look like a piece of magazine image plopped on a background. It looks more incorporated so that you can see the background behind the object and it looks more real, right? It looks better. So I do suggest a little bit of fussy cutting, a little bit of fussy tearing, just making your image have a little bit of shape so that it's not completely square, so that it's not going to look like you just plopped it onto a background. Look how it blends in there. Looks great. It works. And you don't even have to use all this ground either. It would work with just a little bit of ground. So, a little bit of shape with your focal points goes a very, very long way. A very long way. You want your focal points to be complementary colors. You want them to have enough. Bye, Missy. You want them to have enough contrast. You want them to be either darker or lighter than your background so that they're easy to see. Where did the basket go? There it is. He's too big for this, but we could put him on this book page here. If you want to see the zebra coming out of the basket, Jennifer. He's pretty cool. I do have a playlist called Collage. I do go into picking out focal points, fussy cutting, backgrounds, all this stuff. I just did not have a lot of time this week to do anything, and I do get a lot of questions. So they're the videos are short videos. They break them down into different steps. If you're having trouble with backgrounds, you can look at the backgrounds video. If you're having issues trying to see your focal points on your backgrounds, there's a video for that. Fussy cutting and just random collage type things. All right. So let's say that this is our collage. We have a vanilla ice cream background. It's probably about 2/3. And we have our topping, our focal points that are about 1/3 of the space there. And then we get to add the touch of fun. The touch of fun. Sometimes that is a little bit of stamping. Sometimes it is a little dash of color. Sometimes, it can be just a little bit of something, but you just want a touch of sprinkles or a touch of nuts, a dollop of whipped cream, one cherry. You don't want a bowl full of cherries with a spoonful of ice cream on top. I don't know of anybody that eats their ice cream sundae with mostly cherries. Mostly cherries makes your collage really, really busy. And this is where I get not necessarily overthinking my process of collage. And it's just my process. It's not the correct way to do it. It's just the way that I enjoy the process. I like to fiddle. It's not really overthinking. It is looking at options. I have my fussy cut images out. I've got my backgrounds. I like to play around with different things before I decide what I want to do. Maybe I want the zebra to be coming out of the car, or maybe I want um, the faucet to be over the ship. Or, I love to audition things, see what they would look like, and then choose what I want to do. This is my favorite part. Other than collecting and gathering, I love to put things together and see how they interact with each other, what would happen. I come up with unexpected things. I usually have way too many focal points out. I have way too many, and then I get overwhelmed, so I don't suggest that. Just give yourself a few, use them up. Look how cute that is. And then get yourself some more and play around. I enjoy looking at stuff, and maybe he needs to be up higher so he's actually looking at her face. How cute is that? Bye, Carla. And then you could put a little bit of sprinkles on, maybe some stamped images in the background, maybe some words. That's a little detail. There's create and connect. It's much darker so you really can see it. Those are the little details that you put on top to make your collage really interesting. So if you're doing something like a abstract, your focal point usually is maybe color or shape. The same kind of thing. Do I have any red paper? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I should have gotten some, and I do not. I'm trying to think of where I have some of that, and I don't think I do. I've got this, which is pretty close, but it's not eye-catching enough. Darn it, darn it. Do I have something eye-catching in? There's a focal point, but there's a lot of contrast to this focal point. You might have a difficult time finding a background that it will go with because, well, the red kind of separates it here, but it kind of blends in. It's not big enough. So get a busy background out here with a busy focal point, and then you just kind of get lost. Your eyes get lost. It's very confusing. It's very hard to. I wouldn't be happy with this one. All right. I kind of ran out of time. I was trying to get ready for my streaming here. I kind of ran out of time to write my notes and for everything that I wanted to say. So maybe I could do a focal point that's light on a dark page. Where's that busy? And let me just make a circle and see if it'll work. I don't think it will because I think I need a contrasting color to be very eye-catching. I'm trying to make a circle. It'll be an abstract circle. See, if it was red, it would really show. It would really pop out. But it's not. I will bring the fussy cut box of images. My autofocus is not on, Jennifer. I will bring the fussy cut box so that you can see what's in here. You are crazy for my fussy cut images, aren't you? These are things that I fussy cut out and didn't like the looks of, so I put them in the basket. Jennifer. So I put them in here to use in other places. There's a hummingbird. See, and sometimes a lot of people's collages will look like this. They've got so many different things together in one collage, you can't distinguish one image from another. Can you see it? Is it kind of... you guys are silly. Here's my... You guys are silly. I will bring them, Jennifer, so you can get a good look at them. If I don't use them all up. You love fussy cutting, Susan? I don't. Well, I think I did sit down and fussy cut out a bunch of stuff. And as a beginner, you might want to do that. Go through your um, magazines and such. You find a neutral one. This one's got bent. It's a very long sailboat. Um, Bye, Mrs. Gigi. I think I did. I was getting ready to do a bunch of workshops for Patreon, and I needed a bunch of images. And so I think I did spend 1 or 2 evenings just going through magazines and finding objects, animals, people, and that's what most of these are. That's a head, a tiger. Here's a cat. Here's a dog. I go through images or I go through magazines. Here's a car. I know you can't see, but the autofocus is off so that it won't jump. Statue of Liberty. Um, I look for things, people, animals, objects. And I do, sometimes it's not a total fussy cut. This little dog here, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. It's got a little bit of the black, dark background around it. I did not cut it out exactly. You can see he's got stuff around him, but you don't see it so much when you have him on a background. Thank you, Mrs. Gigi. I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming. It doesn't have to be very detailed fussy cutting. Just giving it a bit of a shape so that you can see the backgrounds around it really makes a big difference. It really, really does. This poor squirrel doesn't have a tail, so I have to like put him on the edge of something so that you don't notice that his tail's cut off, or put something over that. Here's a bird bath. I don't remember where I got that one from. I think this came from a catalog. It's a Hawaiian guy on a whale. I like ships. Ships and cars I enjoy. I like trees. This one came from a advertisement that's out right now. Here's a origami. I think it's a dinosaur, but I could be wrong. The raspberry you saw. I like birds. Here's a hummingbird, an owl, pelican. Thought I saw a penguin. Penguin flew away. The penguin flew away, guys. I swear I saw a penguin. There he is. He was upside down. That's why I didn't see him. He didn't fly away. Penguin. Catalogs are fabulous for objects. I used to get this one, and I don't get it anymore because I never ordered from them, I suppose. What was it called? It was my favorite one, and I used all the images for it. It was a catalog for unique gifts. Unique gifts. Those people that have everything and you never know what to buy for them. These were out of the ordinary, interesting things that, and they were cool things. I think that bird bath came out of one of those. Forget what it was called. Signals. Right. It's called Signals. Thank you, Susan. It's called Signals. Wonderful gifts. If you have those people that you need to buy gifts for, they have great stuff. Really unique, interesting, fun things. I love the catalog for the images and for just the stuff. Here's a key. Die cuts. That's just a die cut. You don't have to actually fussy cut around some of those. Tim Holtz has a lot of die cuts of family and things. They work wonderfully for images. Here's a great big huge frog. He's kind of almost too big to be in this basket, but there he is. Uncommon goods. I'm not sure if I've seen uncommon goods. That sounds like about a good one, though. Here's some ballet people. Here is a person, a statue, another tiger. I'm not a big dog person, but I find a lot of dogs, so I have them. I have them. I do like figures, and I have an envelope with heads, so that if I find an interesting figure like that, and these aren't fussy cut out. Here's Rudolph, so I could fussy cut that up and put Rudolph's head on this figure. So let me do that real fast so you can see. And this is how I end up with a bunch of fussy cut images, is because I just want to see what it would look like, and then it's not exactly what I want, so I want to put it someplace. I just put all my images together so that when I need something, I have a lot of options. I am big into a lot of options. I like to audition my I like to audition my focal points. I like to choose between a bunch of different things and find out and see what I like the best. So here is Rudolph's head on that figure. Now, isn't that... You hate fussy cutting? That's why Trader Joe's has great images. Trader Joe has great images. So that's why you're so jealous of because you do not like to fussy cut. That's what it is. You know, and Vicky, if Vicky was here, she would say it to you people in the chat. There are people out there that love to fussy cut. There are those people out there that are bedridden. You can send stuff to, and they fussy cut and send you back stuff. It keeps them occupied. They're happy. They like to fussy cut. If you're a person that does not like to fussy cut, you might want to find one of these people who do and ask them, can I trade you for something? Can I make you something? Can I pay you to fussy cut out some images for me? Find somebody. Said, I like this. I do like this. I should put this on a background. Let's get the backgrounds out here, people. Let's get the backgrounds. Now, you don't have to have anything in your background. It could be just a very plain background. But then you also still need your background to contrast your collage, your focal points. And of course, this does not work. I like red and purple together. So this works wonderfully. You can really see that figure on that background. It doesn't necessarily have to have anything in the background. You could use one of those security envelope patterns. As long as there is a contrast of light and dark, contrast of color, so that you can actually see your focal point. You can't see the pattern. There's a little bit of a pattern there. That one works pretty well. And it would work on the book pages too. See, I kind of like that. I'll have to put that to the side because that's going to be one of my workshops coming up. Look how cute that is. I love it. I'm putting it to the side. All right. So that's what it is. I see, Jennifer. You don't like fussy cutting. That's why you drool over my box here because it's got so much in it that's fussy cut. I get it. I see where you're going with this. You want to see what kinds of things I have in here? Lots of dogs. I come across a lot of dogs. Here's a parrot. Here's a cup, hot chocolate. Faces. I got another one for faces. Here's some horses. A parrot. What else do I have in here? I just, I find an object. Here's a bowl full of marshmallows. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it was really easy to cut out, and it's really cool. One day I will figure out something to do with this. It needs to go with something because it's not really a focal point. It's interesting, but it's not. I mean, I could put a fish with it or something to make it more interesting. I haven't decided what to do. Cars are an easy one to fussy cut out. I like statues, insects, those coin advertisements. The big coins, Liberty. This basket here is supposed to be what came about here. Let me just back up just a little bit. Let me put them back in there. I'll bring it, Jennifer, so you can look. As long as they stay in there and don't disappear, Miss Jennifer. This came about a few months ago. Well, quite a few months ago because I was doing Glue Book January. And this is one of my glue books. This is one of my glue books. It is 6-inch square signatures. I did cut some scrapbook paper in half, folded those strips in half, and did some signatures with the scrapbook paper. And the object of the game for this glue book is to put some kind of background image down. And I didn't say that in the backgrounds. You can also use images for backgrounds as long as, they are not overwhelming for your focal point. You want to be able to see, so that wouldn't work. But maybe that with a red background you can see. So this is what came, this is what it is. It is, some of the scrapbook papers, of course, have white on the back side. So I cut out 6-inch squares for those pages. And this is a very simple collage book. It is a background piece, and it doesn't have to cover the entire background. Just a background piece and one or two pieces on the top. I've got ants in here now. Just one or two things on the top. So this is how it started out. Very, very simple collages. A background with one on top, one focal point. Here's a background with one focal point. I think this needs one more something. I think it needs a fish or something. I haven't found it yet. One background and then one or two little collage bits on top of it. So very, very simple. Your collages don't have to be extremely elaborate to be effective. How about a bunch of trees with a boat, if you could see the boat, or a statue? Can't see him either. The trees might be difficult. I might need to find, to go with those trees, I may need to find some kind of focal point that is very dark, not dark enough, very large, has a bunch of contrast. Maybe I need something that's really light. So the things that are in here, to go back to that question, the things that are in here are 6 inches and smaller for generally. This one, I think, this piece is extra huge. I guess it does kind of fit on if I tilt it in a funny direction. But I didn't have any place else. I can't find my larger images, so it kind of got stuck in here so that I wouldn't lose it. But most of the things are to fit a 6-inch square collage. So it would have to be something on here that would contrast enough so that you can see it. We're getting closer. Something like that. Maybe he you can see him. So when you're picking out focal points, you want them to be a good size. You want them to contrast to your background so you can see them so they don't blend in. You want, if you're using more than one focal point, or more objects on your collage, you want your bits to interact with each other. You don't want, say, two things on your page that just are there. Um, there's nothing, they're not interacting at all. They're just two images floating on this background. You want your images to overlap, to touch, to do something that looks more interesting. He's not floating. The guitar is a little bit, but we can anchor the guitar. How come I'm having a hard time saying that? Onto the bottom, like it's kind of resting there, and then put him so that he's coming out of the guitar. You don't want your images floating. You don't want, you want it to make a little bit of sense. You want your collage elements to have different sizes. You don't want them to be the same size. Here's a picnic basket. Here's a airplane. You want them to interact a little bit. You want your faces to be looking at other faces or other objects. You don't want them to be looking out in the distance. Hi, Marielle. Bye, Marielle. Thunder. Thunder. I will see you next week, hopefully. Yeah, it is kind of like he does kind of seem to want to be there. Um, doesn't he? He does kind of seem to, but I think I want something with him. That looks kind of funny. Maybe a hat, a little tiny hat. You want to make your collages a little bit more interesting. You want the scale of your images to be different. You don't want it to look like you've just taken a picture. You want it to look like you manipulated the objects in the picture so that they are different. Don't like that either. That looks funny. Maybe a car on his head. You like the lion with, it's not a woman, it's RuPaul. it's, it's RuPaul. Um, it's a little not, it's a little too, maybe the flying pig. You can't really see it, it kind of gets lost. Maybe a turtle on his head. You like the lion? Thank you. Hello, Selma. What else do I have in here? Here's a little bull. Here's a couple. They would work. They would work with, oh, here's a car that would work too. See, I like to fiddle. I like to look at different things. This looks too much like a photograph. Like I went out and took a photograph of this. To make it more interesting, it would have to be a tiny, tiny little car or a really huge car. Where did he go? Now I've lost him. Something on his tongue? Something on his tongue. I don't have anything tiny here. My tiny images are downstairs. Here's a little tiny swan. You know what would be kind of cool on his tongue if I was to put something on his tongue? Maybe a little ballerina balancing on his tongue. There's a bird bath. So yes, I do recommend having some, maybe not this many, images to play around with just to get an idea of contrast so that you can see things against the background and see how some of them could work and some of them, blend in. Train your eye to see these things. Here's an owl head. And this takes time. If you're a beginner, tell yourself that you're just in the first grade. There's a huge bird for that, but it's almost the right size. Tell yourself you're in first grade. Stop competing with your older sibling that is in college. You are not going to be producing the same kind of work as somebody that has been doing it for a while. If you stay simple, just one or two images on a background at first, and build yourself up to making an elaborate little scene. So maybe I need a baby buggy with Tutankhamun peeking out, with a bird on top, with a clock, or the bird feeder, bird bath here, and, work your way up to adding and adding and adding. Start simple. These collages that don't have a lot of stuff to them, this is one background image of a dog in a river and one fish put on top. Simple, simple, easy. It takes a while to find the right elements to go together. And so, and here's a bunch of backgrounds, just 6-inch bits that I can play around with. Do I want, oh, see, here's a huge turtle. Do I want this car driving on the water? No, I don't, because it is blending in. It's not enough contrast. I can't really see what it is. Almost, though. Do I want these little dolls? Do I want to find a ship? I did have a ship somewhere, right? Thought I did. Maybe I want this bull in front. Maybe I want RuPaul to be standing in front of the water. Maybe RuPaul would look better in the desert. I like options. I like to, this is fun for me. I don't necessarily like gluing things down. I like to see what it'll look like on the next page. And what's on the next page? This is a bunch of bald eagles. And RuPaul looks pretty good with all the bald eagles. So start simple, start easy. And, excuse me, I'm going to start coughing now. I am. Give me 1 second, 1 second. Sorry there, guys. So that's what I suggest. Think of your collage as a Sunday. Oops, let me put those in. Do some easy backgrounds, some simple ones. Find some little bits of magazine images for backgrounds if you don't want to make any backgrounds. I am not doing well. And then just play around with adding 1 or 2 images. If you have some backgrounds that are made with just a little bit of stuff on them, try using those and practice putting your focal images on, just 1 or 2, seeing if they have contrast, using the rule of thirds, putting those images on. If you make a tic-tac-toe board on your background, put your images, your focal points on the intersecting points, those lines. It adds interest if it's not centered directly on the center of your collage. But just do some basic, easy, simple collages. See what happens when you add something. And work up to a more interesting, if you're, more interesting, adding more things, making it more complicated. And you're going to be happier in the long run if you train yourself to know what you like, know what you don't like, use colors that you like. Make it simple. Make it simple. All right? Thank you all. I hope this is helpful. Please leave your comments in the comments below if you have any questions. I hope I had some things that might work for you if you're one of those that are having some difficulty. There's the ship that I was looking for. So just let me know. I answer my questions once a week. I do it all in one day so that I get them all done. And I am behind. I do apologize. I was out of town, so I am behind in everything. I will be getting some more videos, some workshops up on Patreon. I want to do some more videos for you guys over here on YouTube. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will be back Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Would love to see some of your stuff, any kind of mixed media, anything. Would love to see that in the group on Facebook, Art Experiments. Wonderful to hear, Anne. I like to hear when you guys that you guys will be back. I like to see what you guys are up to. So post your stuff on in Art Experiments so I can see. And thank you all for your thumbs up. It's nice to know that you guys are enjoying the streams and the recordings. I appreciate all your thumbs up. You guys are fabulous. If you can make a live stream, the chat is very fun. The girls here and the boys, the girls and the boys, because I do have some boys. We have a lot of fun in the chat. All right. I will see you next week, and I will be more organized because I'm not going anywhere this week. Thank you all for spending time with me. It was a delight. And thanks for watching if you're watching a recording.